A structure of mystical and alien origin, emanating particles of abstract perspectives and reflection into the expansive nightscape to those who know where to listen. This is Monolith de Mythos, the Monstro Studio podcast. Right now, and it's recording. So anything you say can and will be used against you. So just keep that in mind.
Good.
Mm-hmm.
I'm excited for it.
Mm-hmm. I'm excited for it too. Episode 11 of Monolith de Mythos, the Monstro Studio podcast. Welcome.
Wait, is that your intro?
Yeah, sure.
It's a lot different than the other ones.
Yeah, gotta kind of like mix it up, I guess.
You can see that you felt like you've done this for a little while now. You're like, the intro could be a little bit more laid back.
Yeah, exactly. I need to be a little more mellow. Just kind of ease into it. We don't need to like state we're starting this now.
Yes. Everything.
Even though pressing record, starting it.
What do they call that? Like everything is in order.
Mm-hmm. We don't want it to like kind of fall out of order.
Yeah. Speaking of
what have you been up to, Trey Spells?
Speaking of that, and what I've been up to is I've been playing the Star Wars game Fallen Order.
Yeah.
Talk about Fallout Order right there.
Mm-hmm.
That have you you said you've been playing a little bit of it, right?
Yeah, I got it off of Game Pass, and I did the first level. It kind of tricked me out. I was kind of just coasting through. It's teaching you basic shit. You know, you're just, hey, you press this button to jump, by the way.
Yeah.
Oh, and if you want to, climb, you got to press this button, you idiot.
Yeah.
But then I really like kind of in the middle of that level, you kind of start, you don't realize it, but the main character starts having like a dozing off, and he has a dream. You kind of walk one way, he turned around, and then he's in like episode 1, not episode 1, A New Hope, and he's like running through all these doors, and like there's a vertigo effect going on. The hallway is stretching, and it's just like, oh, what the fuck's going on? I was almost about to hit you up, trying to ask you what the fuck is happening. I'm scared.
Yeah. And then you start to realize, oh shit, he is a Jedi of somewhat.
Yeah.
And you don't know that, I think, at the beginning of the game. You don't know that for like a good 15, 20 minutes, however long it takes you to get to something.
I was kind of expecting like not to have that. I'm like, okay, this could be interesting. I'm just like some guy. Oh, but now I'm some guy with the Force.
That's how it always goes though in Star Wars. Like I'm just a guy who's working on ships, and I work at the junkyard.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, but by the way, I have a lightsaber in my pocket.
Mm-hmm.
And then the guy that I'm hanging around with, whoever his boss was, that kind of.
This guy, he dies.
Sacrifice. Like, I don't know what. He didn't have to die. After I watched that, I'm thinking, he didn't have to die. If he would have just stayed quiet, I'm sure the Padawan, I forget his name, if it was like Kyle or Riot.
Cal, kind of like Clark Kent.
Okay, Cal. So, Cal could have just stepped in from the get-go, and his friend wouldn't have had to die. Because now I wonder what happened to those other ones that were just standing in the line. Did they die too?
Yeah, they got fucked totally.
You think so?
Maybe, because like he just kind of like left after that. He was saving his own ass.
Right.
But the thing is, though, he did have to die though, because now Cal has to have the struggle of, is he going to turn to the dark side or stay with the light, with the Jedi?
Yeah, I see that. You know what I didn't like about that scene was also it matched up too much of the Force Awakens scene with Kylo Ren when he walked off the ship.
Yeah.
And then he had like his stormtroopers like standing in the line doing like that whole mafia vibe thing where we're all just gonna shoot you now. So I feel like they copied that a little bit from the Force Awakens.
So cool.
It is cool. I guess that's one way to make a statement. Like, hey, we're all gonna line you up. And there was just a show I watched too recently when they did that. Like when it comes to war, and they're trying to find the what do you call it? The spy or whatever, like
the mole.
The mole. I guess that's just a classic thing to do is line you up
and
wait for somebody to tell them like, hey, it's me.
Yeah, waiting for them to break.
But someone's got to die. If no one dies, then
there's no stakes.
There's no, yeah. So I thought that was interesting. But yeah, and then you get onto the train shit and all that stuff, right?
Yeah. It becomes Uncharted, but Star Wars.
Yes, it was very Uncharted. I was noticing that too. I was like, oh my god. But it worked out.
Yeah. For you at least.
What, like, even using the lightsaber on a stormtrooper, it felt good. That's all I want. Like, it feels good to use that lightsaber. The way it affects, they did a good job doing that.
Yeah, it really did.
I know when they did a Force Unleash and stuff like that, that was also, I think people that are into Star Wars, they think like, oh, that's one of the coolest things we're gonna get for now. And then I don't know, Star Wars been having a lot of troubles with making games because of their deals with Disney. I remember when they first signed on Disney, and Disney's like, all right, we're scrapping all Star Wars games.
Yeah.
And people were like, what the hell? I'm sure the people working on it were probably more upset, but that's the way things go.
That's how it goes.
So yeah, as you progress in the game, you realize you gotta do a lot more than just pushing X and swiping lightsabers. I realized the puzzles, man. The puzzles are sometimes a little tricky where I'm YouTubing that shit now.
Oh no.
I've been YouTubing a lot of games lately, but this game has to have it because I'm just like, where do I go? Why can't I go that way and all that stuff?
Sounds interesting. I like a good puzzle game.
Are you on the first planet yet?
Yeah, I just landed. I did a little meditation. I used up my skill point. Meditation. And that's where I left off. So I'm barely just starting in.
You're like, whew, what a train ride. What a landing. Yeah, you meet all your friends. Yeah, it can be an addicting game. It really depends how much you want to put into it.
Yeah, and there's another thing I noticed too while playing it is that you press A to jump, you press X to swing your lightsaber. B is kind of like dash around.
Yeah.
LB is force. LB is block. RB is force, and then you interact with stuff using the stick button.
Yeah.
And it made me realize that there are so many games out there that utilize the same button for everything, that if you were to try to interact, like a prompt comes up, you need to press this button, but all you're doing is jumping.
Yeah. Because
it's the same button, and it gets frustrating and annoying. But this, with the Fallen Order, I'm able to just kind of cleanly do what I need to do.
Yeah.
I really appreciate that.
And then there's parts in that map where you're gonna come back later on, after playing 5 hours into the game. You're like, oh, I can even explore more of this map. Now I can wall run. I can swing across this, whatever. I think I played 10 hours into it, and I just now got force pull. So now I can go to any of the planets and use force pull on whatever part of the map that I need to use to get to a certain other area. You can even go back to the first planet. So that first planet has stuff on there where you're not going to learn for 6 more hours of the game. I think there was force push, force pull, slowing down time. I think that's one of the earliest powers.
Yeah, that one's pretty cool.
Yeah. And that's the frustrating part, I think, with people is damn, it took me 10 hours to learn this one power and the game's almost over. But that's the thing, it wants you, because it doesn't have replay value. So that is its replay value, is making you go back to go get those collectibles or those customizations that you want after you beat the game. But now you have a reason to go back to the game. I think that's the bad part on itself, because I don't remember it releasing any DLC to it. They did release something DLC, like an arena type fight style. That's its own thing though. When you go into an arena and you just fight a bunch of enemies, waves, something like that. I think that's what it came out with. But the story is great so far, and I think the most common thing people write in the reviews is how fast the story is. But I'm like, it's not fast. You gotta put some time in there. Because I think it was 8 to 10 hours. 8 to 10 hours where I'm at right now, but it could be up to 20 plus hours. I know it will be over 30 hours for the game, but trying to get through it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I've been doing for most of this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Have you watched any movies recently? Because I know we have seen some.
I've seen some on my own time, at least. Or
Yeah.
not really movies, actually. I guess what I'll bring up is for October I rewatched a cartoon show called Over the Garden Wall. I don't
Over the
know.
Garden Wall, okay.
So it's kind of like, I guess you could consider it a mini series. It's only 10 episodes, just one season, and it's a story. It's all the episodes are connected into one long story. It's about two brothers. Like one's kind of like middle school, I want to say, or maybe like freshman high school, and his younger stepbrother, who's probably like 10 or something, maybe younger, and they're lost in the woods and they need to find their way back home essentially. And they meet some characters like a woodsman who's voiced by Christopher Lee, a talking blue jay bird,
Christopher Lloyd.
Yeah,
that's the guy from Back to the Future.
Yep.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and he was great in it. We also
surprised he's still alive.
What's his name?
Elijah Wood.
Yeah, Elijah Wood he's the main character.
That's awesome.
And what was the guy's name? You'll see him. That guy.
Tim Curry's in there.
Yes, Tim Curry. He plays a character like he actually plays like a really old woman, which is perfect because like his voice, he's just like very low and just kind of like, oh, you gotta tend to the turtles and stuff like that. And
that's funny.
It's the whole, and I love watching rewatching the show around this time because the whole series is just brimmed with the feeling of just autumn and October and Halloween, and more important and most of all, it's all this these all the thematics. Everything has to do with death and dying. Oh, wow. It's not very common in a children's show. This came out on Cartoon Network, I think.
Yeah, I see that. And each episode's only about 12 minutes long.
Yep.
So there's 10 episodes. You can get through that and
watch the whole thing. It's practically a movie.
Almost 2 hours.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, hour 50 minutes. So it came out in 2014.
Yep.
So have you seen this before?
Yeah. This will be like my third time, I think, rewatching the whole thing.
So you really enjoy it?
Oh, yeah. And most of all, I enjoy the music for it.
Oh, cool. Okay.
All the music for it is originally for it, but also just like rewatching it, you kind of go back to like, hey, they kind of mentioned this, or hey, in the beginning theme music, there's a train sound at the end, and then towards the second episode, there's a train that almost hits the main characters.
Oh. Okay.
So it's like foreshadowing that, and there's so much going on that you probably will not like be catching the first viewing.
It's definitely it's an adventure show.
Yeah.
Okay.
And mainly centering around them trying to get back home, but also they run into a creature known as the Beast, and you don't really ever get a good look at him. But fans theorize that it's probably like a Wendigo that's wandering the woods and kind of just finding lost children to take their souls and all that. But
that sounds cool.
but there is like kind of like a little kind of unexpected little like twist at the end, mainly to do with kind of like the setting of like where they're actually at and what's actually going on. But it's very cool, and then very kind of what's the word I'm looking for? Kind of daunting and just dreadful, and you really do feel kind of, it's like you really feel emotional at the end.
Really interesting.
And I love it.
And you care about these characters, right?
Yes.
That's pretty cool. What did you watch this on?
Hulu.
Okay.
Because I think last year it wasn't on Hulu, because I know I didn't watch it last year, but now this year it was. So I'm like, okay, I have to rewatch it.
Yeah. Definitely check that out.
If you have not seen it, you check it out.
Over the Garden Wall.
Yes, it's still November, so it's still It's not really like kind of wintry enough. The show does kind of like step into that. Like it starts off in autumn, but then as time goes on, it gets more snowy, especially towards the end. So still perfect to watch that.
Would you say that it's became like a tradition for you to watch this now every year, or
I suppose
like,
so.
you said this is the third time you watched it?
Yeah.
Hey, it could be a future tradition. You never know.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of cool though. Like you have something.
Mm-hmm.
Like I try to find something too, and I'm just like, sort of kid movies that I've seen 100 times, right? Nothing connects to you anymore like it would back in the day. So it's kind of cool to find something that would work nowadays with you. So.
Yeah, it kind of in tune with my personality and the things that I like, but it also just get me a rise out of it. Even watching it again, knowing what's gonna happen, I still get a little teary eyed if I'm being honest.
Oh wow! So I should get a box of Kleenex while I watch it.
Yep.
Okay.
Definitely.
Speaking of non-tears, Borat 2.
Tears. That's like tears of kind of like laughter. Well, maybe like maybe for like a few parts, but
yeah.
Still, I thoroughly enjoyed Borat 2.
Okay. Well, first of all, it was a surprise that it came out. Right?
Yes.
Nobody was really expecting it to come out that way. Like I said earlier, a long time ago, that I've seen it advertised here and there. Not that they're making Borat 2, that they're just finding Sasha doing Borat in like certain spots and pictures of him. So I already knew it was coming for a while. And I think maybe some majority of people know that too. But when it did get announced, you're just like, oh, okay, it's ready.
It's ready. It's like right now, soon.
It'll be out in 2 weeks on Amazon Prime for free if you got Prime.
Oh damn!
So that was kind of a nice surprise. Yeah, it is what it is. I'll go into first what I think about it real quick. Is I don't have much to say about it. I could just definitely say it's not like the first one. The first one was way more adventurous. Second one was more calmed down. It didn't take as many risk as Sasha's other movies that he's done. I think there was a couple risk here and there, but
yes.
not as much crazy stuff. I think it was toned down, and I think that review that we were watching too is how they mentioned they were probably filming this during COVID times, so that was probably a hard film to do while finishing it up.
Yeah, you just have to rearrange everything with how things were shutting down so fast, and now you can't really go out and do as much stuff anymore. So you need to alter the story that you're already kind of going months in, and like, oh well, what do we do now?
Yeah,
but I still feel like they managed to pull it off.
They did, yeah.
Pull off a decent story. I'd say with a really, honestly, it's a good kind of message to have.
It's almost like a movie too. Like either do this now or you'll never get it done. Especially with the politician stuff in there.
Yeah, and just kind of how everybody's kind of like at each other's throats online, just like, hey, that's insensitive. You can't do that. That's oppressive. That's racist. That's sexist.
Yeah.
Which
I love how they push the boundaries.
Got to push the boundaries, while also even with the pushing boundaries, what they're most importantly doing is that they're still calling out, hey, this is racist, this is sexist, and all that, and that's still important to do because we still need that. But what a lot of people are put off is the way that people kind of just say, they'll just like quote retweet, kind of just like, hey, well, I think this is my opinion. This is not cool at all, and I do not approve of seeing this in my timeline.
Yeah.
But Sacha Baron Cohen, he's kind of a genius in the way he picks his kind of battles, and he just he creates these characters and puts people on the spot in these situations that exposes like kind of like who they really are, or like what they're trying to hide from everyone else. Like he and this new actress that they brought in, and she is just incredible.
Wait, I want to say something before you get to that. When you said like how people are in like social media and like if something offends them or whatever, the thing is when you said about Genius, about what he's doing is he comes out with this movie and it's not a tweet, it's not a post, it's a movie, and people are gonna watch it and they're just gonna have to accept what he's doing, and I think that's the great part. Like, yeah, you can write about it later on, but this is a movie itself. Or are you gonna write? There's no comments underneath the movie. You can write reviews about it, like how most movies are, but it's still gonna get its ratings. It's still gonna get its positive comments, negative comments. But I think that part is kind of interesting. Do you know what I mean, though? Like, it's not a post. It's not a tweet.
It's bigger than that.
It's like whoever's watching, they can't express their opinion on like, oh, that's weird. You're watching it, and you're just like, oh shit, I don't know if I agree with that.
All they can still like I said, they can still review it, they can still tweet about it, but then
they have to get pretty upset about it.
Yeah, and you have to get pretty upset about it to get other people to look at it and be like, oh, they're really honing in on this. I guess I'll watch it and check it out.
Yeah,
because like you can't really get what they're saying if you're not with them watching it, you know.
Yeah.
Now you get more people watching your movie.
Yeah, that's a good marketing type thing. It's not even marketing. It's just
it is nowadays
controversial shit. Yeah, marketing nowadays with controversial shit is the new thing. That's the only way to go viral and on anything. What were you saying about the actress now that was in Borat 2?
She is incredible. She was what helped make the movie. If they didn't get someone that was as good as her, but not just as ad-libbing, but not was just maintaining a character, but also just ad-libbing with the situation she was in. Because like there was still a lot of unscripted moments. There were some, stuff that was still manipulated around, obviously, because they need to try to get a rise out of what was going on. But for the most part, you can definitely get a sense that, this is them, like, actually doing this, but they're also just super witty and quick with everything.
Yeah. That's what reminded me of Bad Grandpa, Johnny Knoxville and the kid.
Yeah.
So it reminded me of, like, that was a version of that. But obviously Borat 2 was a little bit better in that way. But that was, like, a pre-version of, like, what that was. Like, the kid's going along with his jokes, but we all know they're joking. But it's going back and forth. We're still fooling the people. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's on that same sense. Like,
yeah, like that little kid is like, I'm going to call you Cinnamon.
Yeah.
Saying shit like that.
Yeah, and I could see how this movie kind of took from that a little bit. Like, okay, we're going to do that, but make the acting and whatever we can a little bit better.
Make it like the characters kind of, like the way the characters are acting fit the narrative more.
Because obviously this is not a kid. This is... Was she portraying to be a kid?
Like, she was, like, portraying a 15-year-old.
15-year-old? I wonder how old she was.
Because of Stand-in, yeah.
She probably had to be at least 20 or something. But, yeah. That's why I think was and her doing the accent, too, and all that stuff. And, like you said, going along with the scenes is interesting.
Her name's Maria Bakalova.
Okay. Obviously, that's probably not a popular name.
Nope, so I'm pretty sure for the posters they are in the credits. They say that they're introducing her, basically just introducing her to like the audience, or no, they're not. They're basically just introducing her to the Hollywood mainstream audiences. So I think she was in other stuff before, but just indie movies. But now this is basically her big break.
Yeah, and
what a big break to do.
It really is, yeah.
Just from the what's it called? The femininity, the femininity dance.
Oh man!
Like talking with the babysitter, which I guess the whole situation with her was real.
Yeah.
When they start off, she was really not having it, and was trying to set everybody straight with what was going on, and
yeah. Well,
she was great, and But I just do want to say that at the very end, what everybody's talking about was like Rudy, and it's just like I feel like they still it was kind of overhyped.
Oh,
he was like really just I believe he was just tucking in his shirt.
Talking about Trump's lawyer.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
And but then they kind of like fudged around with like
what
the
good
editing.
timing though.
Yeah.
What good timing for that to happen, because that I didn't know who he was before Trump. I'm probably gonna forget about him later on, but I also know he was was he the mayor too or something?
Yeah, he used to be the mayor of New York. Okay. I think.
All right. Yeah, I remember now. I forgot there was even a cameo of Tom Hanks. I can't even remember the scene, but I remember him playing a cameo.
I do. I don't want to get into it because it's kind of spoiler for the narrative, but I thought that was awesome.
Yeah, we'll leave that out of what happened, but expect a cameo from Tom Hanks. I forgot what he does and what he does. Yeah. Yeah, we can wrap this one up though.
All right.
It's got a 6.8 out of 10 on IMDb. What would you like to give it?
I think a 7.
A 7?
Yeah. Definitely something I would want to watch again. More friends and just laugh at like all the stupid shit even harder because you got a crowd going for it.
Yeah. I'm gonna go with the 6. Obviously it wasn't the first one. You're not gonna get like whatever one you liked better the most. But Borat was that. But Borat made a name for himself.
Yeah.
Just like his other movies. And I think that's great. Bruno and what's the chief guy? What's that?
Oh, the dictatorship.
The dictator. Like
the dictator, yeah.
Yeah, like those are great.
I will say though, like one final thought is that the first movie definitely had something better going for it because it was Borat traveling the country to basically just learn about America, and that makes of like the idea of like, well, what's America like really stand out stronger. Where the second movie, he's just kind of it's just him and his daughter,
right?
And there's not really like any particular reason for him to be going to like this dance ball, going to like a ladies, like Republican ladies meeting.
Right. Yeah.
So they had to kind of fudge around with like, well, why are we going here?
Yeah, because the first one was all about learning about America, right?
Yep.
Yeah, this second one is like, okay. But I guess that's the funny, stupid part is where like he doesn't understand how politics were supposed to be important. Maybe because they how important we view them as. Americans view them as. Like how he's gonna bring them a female, and everything's gonna work out. Yeah, that I could see is a good difference there.
But still, the movie is just stupid fun. It's great. Yeah, definitely would watch it again and recommend it. It's free on Amazon Prime.
Borat 2. So we got into another movie where it took us a long time to watch. Not too long. I would say since August, because that's when I finished Twin Peaks.
Yeah.
There's a movie called...
What movie is that?
It's called Fire Walk with Me.
Hell yeah.
And Jack, explain what Fire Walk with Me is and what it has to do with Twin Peaks.
Essentially, so after David Lynch was done finishing up Twin Peaks, after they brought him back to finish it up, because they fired him in the beginning of shooting season 2, then they realized, yep.
Oh, I thought he just left.
No, well, he probably did leave due to creative differences, but basically he just walked away from it.
And that's when everybody noticed the show changed a little bit.
Oh yeah, they're like, oh, there's a lot more episodes, and
they got lost.
The studios had no idea what to do going on because it's Twin Peaks and it's David Lynch, so
it's literally someone's mind that's in the show, and you can't duplicate someone's mind. They try to, and you're just like, this is like, there's so many pointless scenes.
Like so you're just like, I like season 1 better.
Yeah, and I told you that before I knew that David Lynch didn't do the second season, but now I get it. After I watched the second season, I was like, oh, that makes total sense now. It didn't have its vibe.
So he came back, he finished season 2, helped wrap it up, and now he's like, okay, now I want to make a movie based on Twin Peaks.
Yeah.
And all the fans were so excited. Oh, I can't wait to see this movie on Twin Peaks. We're gonna see finally what happens to Agent Cooper at the end. And then he just comes out and he just goes, it's a prequel to everything that happens.
Yeah.
And you're just like, oh, what?
And what did you think of this prequel?
I thought it was pretty good.
I don't think they could have done it any better. It was perfect.
For what it was, definitely, because we're talking about Twin Peaks here. Just can't really even describe. Just a crazy show about a peculiar town with weird people and all the people surrounding it.
And you can tell it has David's like
his essence,
his energy on it.
Yeah,
you can feel that. I felt more David Lynch on this Firewalk with Me than the second season. Like, it just had that weirdness to it.
Exactly, because you're seeing stuff that they would definitely not want to put in a TV show.
Oh yeah.
Because
I forgot about that. The content too.
Yeah, producers for TV shows and studios and all that, they are very kind of particular with what they want to put on. And movies are a little different. You can get away with a lot more, as we saw in movies.
Yeah.
So you're able to see a side of Twin Peaks that you knew was always there, but you never got to see the full version of, because you got to slowly build up to it. But with Firewalk with Me, you just get it right away.
Yeah.
With the sex, with violence, as well as the weirdness that is David Lynch.
So it'd be an interesting thing. What if you were to watch that movie before even watching any of the show?
I don't think that would work out.
It'd be an interesting thing, though, right? It wouldn't have the hype. Like I would have to watch Twin Peaks first. You don't have to. There's no rules on anything. But watching Firewalk with Me, it's cool that it was made like after. It's kind of like watching the Star Wars, the old movies, and then George Lucas decides to make the prequels, afterwards.
Yeah.
That's how I felt like, oh, okay, now we're getting the whole story of what people were talking about and how they were. And I loved how you can see the differences on the actors, like in their stories. Like, why is this person all nervous? Why is this person sad? Like,
why are things kind of fucked up like this? Yeah. That's a really good analogy. I never thought of it like that.
Yeah, because you're watching Twin Peaks and you're just like, what is wrong with all these people? Like, and then in the movie Firewalk with Me,
you still don't really know why, like, what's wrong with all these people, but you get a better idea.
Yeah. So that was a cool part to watch these actors or these characters have a different emotion throughout the movie, rather than seeing them act a certain way. So that was cool. That I like seeing. And I like how we got to understand Laura Palmer a little bit and what happened to her for real.
Which is another thing. If you watch the movie before watching the show, you lose the tension and suspense.
Yes, yeah.
Right away, because you know what happened.
Yeah, because the last 20 minutes of Firewalk with Me, I was just like, what the hell? Like, I know this happened because when I heard about it, but watching it was just like, what the hell? So that was kind of the cool part. And like I said, with the Star Wars, it's like, how did Anakin become Darth Vader? We never got to see it. And then you finally watch, you're like, oh, fuck.
Why is he bald?
He became Darth Vader.
He swam in lava.
He shaved his head.
In love with lava.
Yeah.
Or with a lightsaber.
Exactly. Firewalk with Me, though. Should we even rate that movie? I don't think we should. It is what it is, and it's a movie that, like, it's not a movie. It's just... It's something special.
We probably shouldn't, but I'll rate it anyway. I kind of give it like a light 7.
Okay, it's got a 7.3 on IMDb.
Mainly because it's really just for like if you're a fan of David Lynch,
Yes.
more so than Twin Peaks.
Mm-hmm.
But you still get a good sense, a good feeling. You get some really interesting scenes and things that go on. You get some questions answered, but then you only get more questions.
Yeah. So
like why are we following these two random detectives in the first hour?
Yeah.
And why does David Bowie show up?
Oh,
I thought that was kind of funny.
We only saw him like one time, right?
Yep. And then he disappeared, literally disappears.
That was the camera scene.
Yep.
And that was it.
Yep.
Was there anything too else that I don't even remember?
It definitely just sets off the tone of all like this particular case is quite a strange one.
Oh, okay.
That's kind of like what I got out of it.
Like the intro, like let's have David Bowie intro this story.
Let's have him just yelling out of nowhere for no reason.
Oh God. Yeah. The great thing too about it was after watching the first two seasons, well, the first two beginning seasons, it's like you keep hearing about Laura Palmer.
Mm-hmm.
Like, why did everybody like her so much?
Yeah.
Like, who was she? But then you watch the movie and you're like, okay, she really cares about people. She really like has a good personality. Mm-hmm. So I could see why the town was so upset. Mm-hmm. You don't get that in the show.
Nope.
You just get them upset. Mm-hmm. Like, God damn, this town's emotional as hell. Like, so I'm glad to finally watch that to understand all that. I wish it didn't take that long, but you know, movies and shows are timed out in a certain way. I loved how much fun we had with HBO Max.
Oh yeah.
Trying to get that to work. Mm-hmm. But we end up, you know. Do you still have it?
Nah, I'm pretty sure the trial is up now. My 7 days are up.
Yeah, to get rid of it. Mm-hmm. Anyways, I also have a song that I did with Twin Peaks.
That's right.
I have had you listen to it a few times. You tried to burn it out of your ears. Never want to hear that again.
No,
I'm just kidding. It's on all platforms right now. Actually, no, I take that. No, it's only on YouTube right now. I want to put it on all platforms, but I'm trying to do this certain thing that I'm doing with my songs where if I ever do make it, you're only going to hear these songs on a certain platform till that shit's deleted. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, there's a couple songs on my YouTube that aren't on my SoundCloud. They're not on Facebook. They're not on Spotify, mm-hmm. right? And I'm doing that on purpose because that's the cool thing about rarity is like you want to keep some of that rarity, you know, even though you work hard on a song. But I've gotten to a point where I've worked on so many where like I don't need to put this out everywhere. I just want to maybe have one link to it somewhere, you know, like check it out while you can.
Gotta go find it.
Yeah. Until I get signed, then everything's deleted, and then all you guys will never have any of that stuff again.
Now you gotta pay.
And I'll release it in 20 years from now. With my 20-year anniversary of Trevor's Demos.
$200 bundle.
Yeah, $200 bundle. Get the vinyl of all of his fantastic songs featuring Arrival. You imagine hearing Arrival 20 years from now? Oh my God, that'd be wild. But yeah, you just type in Trey Spells on YouTube. A song called Twin Peaks. Mm-hmm. Check it out. I wrote about it. I was inspired by the show and the music. Definitely the music of it. I love the music. There's some videos too on YouTube about how the music was made that Manny showed me.
Oh yeah.
And check all that shit out too. So
I recommend it. Check it out.
Yeah. Last week I purchased a movie, and not only was it just a movie.
Just one movie?
Not only was it just a movie, it was the trilogy.
3 movies.
For $10.
That's a good deal.
It is a good deal. And I love when I see 3 for $10.
Yeah.
That's a good deal. I regret selling the Blade trilogy. Mm-hmm. I got it one time on Black Friday for like $7 or something, and I regret selling it because it's one of those movies why would you sell that? You got all 3 movies at a good price.
It's hard to let go sometimes, but sometimes you just gotta do it.
Sometimes you just look back at it, and you're just like, okay, there's not going to be any more Blades, at least for now. Mm-hmm. but those were classics. It was Wesley Snipes.
Like what's he up to even?
I know the first one is as good, and the other two were just, especially the third one was terrible. I forget that Ryan Reynolds was even in that third one. Yeah, they even had Triple H from WWE in there. Like he was the villain, but the first one was good enough for me to keep it.
But why are we talking about trilogies, Trey Spells?
So the trilogy I decided to purchase, and I didn't think I would, and I don't even know how long it's been out for. I want to say I've only seen it around for about 2 months.
Maybe at least a year, because that's when the last movie came out.
I know, but putting the trilogy all together though, like in a Blu-ray or in a Blu-ray package, they're like, hey, let's do this.
Yeah. That's the ultimate goal, isn't it?
I wish I had like special packaging or something. Maybe there's one out there.
Maybe steelbook case.
Yeah, anything besides like your regular stuff. But anyways, the Rob Zombie trilogy.
That is
House of a Thousand Corpses and Devil's Rejects
and Three from Hell.
Three from Hell, yes. And
what would you really call the trilogy? Because I had to look it up because I don't think it said anything on the Blu-ray case, and you would really kind of would want to call it, I guess, the Captain Spaulding trilogy, but that doesn't really pan out, especially for the third.
Yeah.
The third movie, because
is that the clown?
Yep. That is
rest in peace to him, by the way.
Yeah, Sid. I meant to look up how do you say his last name, like Hags or Haig. I don't want to say Haig.
I'll look it up right now.
It's Haig. Sid Haig.
And which is a classic actor from previous horror films. I guess I didn't know how long he was in horror.
Yeah,
for a long time. It wasn't until Rob Zombie introduced a lot of our generation to A House of a Thousand Corpses. I guess that's where we got to learn about him. And then you realize, like, oh shit, he's been in a lot of stuff throughout the years. And it goes way back to one of the, like, when the posters were just very simple with horror movies.
They painted their posters too.
Yeah, they painted posters. Yeah, Sid Haig, whatever. He was born in 1939. Holy shit.
Yeah, but he still left too soon, I say.
So I think in Three from Hell, Rob Zombie was able to film at least a few scenes with him, and then I guess he passed away. It says September 21st, so I'm thinking they weren't even done filming yet. You know what I mean?
I'm pretty sure they wrapped up and then he passed on. Because just jumping right into Three from Hell, one of the things he kind of would want, one of the things that kind of stands out, especially with actors who are kind of like either really old or they're kind of or like something personal is going on. Like in his case, he was like going through. I think he was like you think you mentioned his lungs were collapsing.
Yeah, he had some. It was definitely a health thing, but then again, it's like he's 80 years old. That
too. But what I remember from Three from Hell when he was in it was he was sitting down a lot of times. His
last scenes at the beginning.
Okay, pretty much the only scenes he was in, especially when he was delivering lines, he was sitting down, and the only ever times he wasn't sitting down, he was just kind of just walking with prison guards guiding him because they were all arrested.
Yeah,
that's kind of like, it was just like, oh wow, this is definitely a send-off movie for him, or at least in the beginning scene, this was a send-off to him.
Yeah.
Until ultimately they said, like, yeah, he just kind of like, they killed him off.
I'm pretty sure this was like his last movie too. It says something called Hanukkah. That'd be interesting to watch, but I'm not going to because it says it's got a 3.8.
Sounds Jewish.
Yeah.
I might edit that
No, it's Borat. It's very controversial.
Borat's not Jewish. He hates the Jews.
Oh, he's afraid of Jews.
The Jews are evil creatures with.
Yes. I mean, you were Jewish.
You all are not. Steal my. Eat me.
I think it was a deleted scene from the first Borat film, but that's when he stayed the night with the Jews.
Yeah,
the old couple, yeah. And they were trying to feed him. Like, you go poison us. Do not eat that. It's poison. Anyways, I'll cut that whole part out.
Yeah.
So yeah, it looks like this is probably his last film.
Mm-hmm.
You can actually tell too, just by the way you're looking at him. And you said he was sitting down for most of his scenes.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't have that energy like he did in the other two.
No, but he still delivered, I want to say, definitely with his Captain Spaulding character, which, regrettably, looking back at it, I kind of wish we saw these movies a lot sooner, because I definitely would have pulled off a Captain Spaulding costume for Halloween.
Oh, but you got plenty of time, though.
I can wait. I can, next year, man, I'm going to go all out. I'm not going to be a poser anymore, because I've seen all the movies now.
Yeah. So you would go for Captain Spaulding?
Yeah.
That's awesome. I'm trying to think of a character I can go with it.
You could be Otis.
I could be Otis, yeah.
And then Justin can be Tiny.
Yeah. So where do we start off with these films?
I guess we can just start off with the House of a Thousand Corpses.
Right.
Because I've heard plenty about Rob Zombie movies. I haven't actually really seen any, except for Halloween, which I wasn't really too into, because I've already seen John Carpenter's Halloween. Right. And that already kind of like set itself as kind of just what it is.
Well, just like everybody's seen Halloween, though.
Yeah.
At the same time.
But it's its own thing. It's like it's going for something that, with its film style, as well as just the Michael Myers character, the shape. It's going just for this kind of like idea that evil, can be anything. Mm-hmm. And there's no way to stop it. And it might just get you. Even in places that you thought were safe, it can still get you. It doesn't need to, run. But it doesn't even need to, run or walk fast, but it will catch up to you.
You're talking about Michael Myers?
Yep. And was Rob Zombie's movie he's just a kid who ate too much candy and got excited and is just like, I'm gonna kill my family.
No, he got picked on, he got bullied.
Yeah, but then he ate too much candy and now he's just like, I'm gonna kill my family.
Well, it's funny about not funny, but
it was kind of funny because they're all hicks.
Nowadays, that's more like suicide, like rather than killing other people. That's what I've noticed, how that didn't age too well. Like, let's say if Halloween came out in 2007, his version of it was, okay, I'm gonna get bullied and talked to the way I was talked to. I'm gonna get so upset, I'm gonna kill the bully. I'm gonna do all this stuff. I don't think that would happen nowadays. Mm-hmm. I think that's more of like an emotional thing. Where
it makes sense for Rob Zombie because he's always because he has that kind of like outsider mentality.
Mm-hmm.
So you have little Michael Myers. He's being picked on and bullied. He's the outsider.
Yeah. So
you got people who feel that way relating to him that way. Mm-hmm. But what kind of takes me away from it was just trying to like the rest of the movie is just Rob Zombie is just trying to be all edgy and be all like Michael Myers is in like the insane asylum and he's in the same room where this nurse is getting raped by the other male nurses and shit like that.
Yeah, it did have a different aspect to it. I was gonna ask you though, what made you think what made him who asked him to direct that, or like it couldn't have been him. It had to be like the Universal Studios or something like, hey, we want you to direct Halloween.
Maybe a little bit of column A, a little bit of column B, because I know
that's a big what do you call it? A big franchise.
Oh yeah.
To take on.
Oh yeah.
And why would they trust him? Just because of the success that Devil's Rejects went through? And...
Yeah, I agree with that. I wholeheartily believe that. Because you got yourself a cult following there, and
a cult following, yeah, okay.
They'll come over and they'll buy tickets.
Yeah.
So they're their own thing, obviously, because we're getting all these newer Halloween movies, like the remake that 2018 Halloween that like this kind of just was just like, now we're not going to care about all these other movies.
But that's Halloween. The funny thing though, is like when these Halloween movies do come out, these newer ones, it makes you talk about what was previously made, and Rob Zombie has his, like, you can get into a conversation saying, oh, do you like the Rob Zombie versions? And that's kind of cool to talk about. Like, you either can talk about Carpenter's, Rob Zombie's, or whoever's doing today's now.
I don't even know.
See, nobody even knows the directors.
Nobody cares. It's directed by Michael Myers.
But that's the funny thing. You can say Rob Zombie's films, like, he made a standpoint in his film, like, that was his version of it. The big, bulky Michael Myers, I'm going to kill everything in my path and destroy them. He turned, I don't know what the fuck he turned him into, like a machine, like, rather than just, like, killing them normally.
It doesn't really help that there's that kind of, like, precursor to it. We see Michael Myers as, like, really young and living with the family. And, like, that's why he's kind of like, oh, this is why he's so messed up and just wants to kill for no reason. But that's, like, a lot less scary than just being, hey, there's this guy and he's killing for no reason.
But didn't Jason's franchise do the same thing?
Not really.
Where they try to, like, redo the whole, like, this is why I'm crazy. Like, wasn't the latest Friday the 13th, because it came around that same time, right? Was it like a year after?
Yeah.
Didn't they try to give him a background story too, or like
they kind of started off? They kind of started off doing their own thing. I think I've only seen the first one, and after that, I'm just like, like all the other Friday the 13th movies are their own thing.
Yeah.
Because the first one, it's actually the mother that's doing the killings.
Right.
His mom.
Yeah.
And then after all, they just kind of like that's when they start the second movie is when they give him the hockey mask, and he's
oh.
See, it becomes its own iconic thing, and it's just like, okay, well then then kind of like, what's the point of just kind of like, why did I watch this one first?
Who gives them the hockey mask?
I don't know. I've only seen the first one.
You're talking about the old ones though, right? Or
yeah, the first one,
the ancient time ones.
80s, the long late 70s.
I tell Justin that all the time, is like, I still haven't watched Friday the 13th series and Nightmare on Elm Street. I still haven't watched any of them. I've only seen all the new stuff.
I definitely recommend Nightmare on Elm Street,
the very first one,
as a franchise to watch.
Compared to Friday the 13th.
Yep, compared to Friday the 13th, not so much.
So more of a Freddy fan.
Yeah, maybe Hellraiser. I think I've just seen the first two, and I'm kind of like set with these. I know there's like a lot more like weird sequels with Hellraiser, but I'm kind of good with just these two.
Yeah.
Because especially after watching the Friday the 13th series, I think there's 6 movies, and then there's a remake after that. But like they go like all these crazy places, especially with like kind of like the 80s and with the decades they were being released in the later sequels. They start going into kind of these weird territories, but they're interesting, especially the first one. The effects are immaculate.
Yeah.
So definitely would check that out.
Yeah, I will eventually watch them when Justin decides to.
He'll be down. You just gotta let him know, hey, Justin,
it's October. Let's watch all of them. I've asked people about certain movies that they're gonna watch, because I feel like everyone's gonna watch holiday movies right now, and some people are talking about watching horror movies. I'm just like, are you sure? Like, are you okay with that? Like, it's like ruin your holidays. So that's the kind of interesting thing, because they're my friends are talking about, like, they're gonna watch like a horror film or a TV show, like late November or December, and I'm just like, oh, okay. I've realized times have changed, and no one is feeling festive. You know what I mean? Like no one is in that holiday spirit yet, and I know it takes time.
Because what are we gonna fucking watch? The Santa Claus with Tim Allen?
Yeah. I think they're making the new ones with Kurt Russell. I didn't watch the one that came out last year or 2 years ago, but Kurt Russell's like the new Santa Claus now.
Oh, what the hell? Yeah. I don't think I want to watch that.
Tim Allen was our generation. It's now Kurt Russell. Apparently they were good, but they're not going to be.
But Kurt Russell is like not this generation though. What the hell?
I know. And him playing Santa Claus that's what's weird.
But this is kind of off topic, but just kind of piggybacking right to Santa Claus. Yeah. I seen some shit of like hashtag Jingle Jangle, which I guess is a new like Netflix holiday show or movie or whatever.
Yes.
And I see it has like Forrest Whitaker, Keegan Michael Key, and it's just like I didn't watch any trailers or anything. I just saw like in the Twitter moments that it had the hashtag and kind of like played the little blurb. But I'm just it's just like, what? This is like the first time I'm hearing of any of this, but I don't know if I want any part of it.
Yep.
I'd rather watch what is it, Herbie's Halloween?
Jingle Jangle.
Yep. I don't even remember that kid.
It's apparently already on Netflix.
Yep.
November 13th. I don't know if I would watch that. I'm very late on Christmas movies.
Yeah.
I'll wait till that day.
I think we have enough.
Yeah. We don't have enough Halloween scary movies yet.
Exactly. We've kind of like blown through them.
You can, but
so we need more.
You want to see how creative they can keep getting.
Mm-hmm. Halloween is definitely like one of those kind of holidays where you can get more creative.
Yeah.
Christmas is already kind of expended.
Yeah.
Like what, snow?
Yeah.
What are you going to do, like a Christmas movie in the desert now?
Yeah.
It's going to be an Arizona Christmas.
What do you think, though, about the Christmas horror movies?
We're gonna like wrap up a cactus in Christmas lights.
No, what do you think?
I know.
Like there's Black Christmas. There's
Krampus, which is, I guess you can kind of consider that.
Yeah,
Krampus was fun.
I remember watching that with you guys.
But like even then, I feel like that's already kind of like expended, because now you're just
I don't think you can
going back to like the Halloween horror.
Like what we watched, I don't think you can keep doing those. But the one we watched was done well because you threw the right comedians in there to do it. But other than that, it wouldn't work still. And I think it had a popularity too at its time.
Mm-hmm.
Like everyone was talking about Krampus at that time. Like, who's Krampus? Like,
haven't you heard? He's this
ancient.
He's like the anti-Santa Claus.
Yeah, he's a demon.
He doesn't just leave coal for kids. He fucking takes them and eats them.
Yeah. So, they could revive Christmas with some new shit like Krampus, but
I don't think they can. I can't.
The way they did it was like when you look up Krampus on the internet, it says like this ancient Santa Claus demon. You're like, wait, who created that? Did they create that? The movie to create that?
Nah, he's just been around this whole time.
Like his name has been around forever.
Like, the only reason we just didn't know about him yet was because you haven't fucked up yet.
I guess so.
You haven't fucked up, and then he hasn't had to come get you.
Speaking of fucked up, did Rob Zombie? Back to Rob Zombie.
Yeah, we were talking about Rob Zombie.
Did he fuck up these 3 films, or did he not? And we got to remember, House of a Thousand Corpses came out in 2003, Devil's Rejects 2005, and 3 from Hell 14 years later.
Yes. His directorial debut with House of a Thousand Corpses, which you can cut him some slack. And to answer your question, I'm just going to say, yeah. But not in the bad way. I'm going to tell you that. Because I think I was trying to get to it before. But because I haven't really... Because like I said before, I haven't actually really seen any Rob Zombie movies aside from Halloween.
Which was cool.
Because
you were fresh into this.
I was fresh, but only because I kept hearing how stupid and bad Rob Zombie movies were.
Oh no!
So that's kind of usually what's kind of push me away.
Right.
And until like like something like this goes on, it's like, hey, we're gonna watch 3 movies in one night, like with the group together. Let's do this. And I'm like, okay, I'm down. This I'm down for. And then I finally sit down and watch House of a Thousand Corpses for the first time. I'm like, you know what? This was actually pretty fun.
Yeah, it's a good time film.
It's a good time film because with a lot of killing, a lot of senseless killing, a lot of goofy characters and lines, a lot of kind of campy horror shit.
Yeah,
but it has a lot going on and going for it, and a lot of new ideas that you kind of would expect, especially from somebody like Rob Zombie, who has really interesting music videos.
Yeah,
and like he has a lot of, like on IMDb, he has a lot of director credits, but it wasn't until like 2003 that he gets a feature length one.
Yeah,
which is this.
Yeah, with everything he's doing in there,
and now
you finally understand what he's been trying to do with his it's artistry.
It's his artistry, like kind of like fully, like, not, I want to say fulfilled, but expanded upon to feature feature length. And like it is interesting, but also it kind of is definitely out of place. You get that sense, because it's like, you don't see this in a movie. Like, why is this happening?
Yeah,
like, why is like all like the colors weird, and like everything is like slowed down, even though it wasn't shot at a high frame rate,
or even like old footage thrown in there too.
Yeah,
like old school stuff,
like all this crazy like weird editing. But you gotta but then you kind of like realize, you know what, this is kind of like how his mind is kind of like probably works 24/7.
Yeah.
So and then you see like, yeah, like, no, and as it goes, and I'm getting into it.
Yeah, I could see that. So I don't think it was overnight thinking of that whole theme. I think it had to work in, with being White Zombie and then Rob Zombie and then him taking that to another level. We're like, you know what? I'm gonna take this Rob Zombie feel and put it into a movie, and you can obviously see that.
You got your hillbilly hicks.
Yeah.
You got your
cursing.
You got your cursing. You got your
You got your beards.
Got your like kind of like
nobody
borderline like satanic, like fun time stabbings and all that.
Your bad hygiene.
Yeah.
Ain't nobody wearing deodorant in those films.
The house is just like run down.
The house
shit.
is so Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I think that's where they say like that's where his influence the most was from that film.
Yeah, you have all the old slasher movie influences, like we were talking about Friday the 13th.
Yeah, he took that. He took all those films, put it into one, and made it edgy. And at the time when you're watching it, you might not think it's so great, but we weren't teenagers at the time. We weren't, in our 20s, and I think they reacted it like it was still cool. Like that was their movies. Like they're not the ones writing reviews about it. They didn't have anything to write reviews. Like the generation at that time, right?
What are they gonna do? Send a letter?
Yeah,
to an article?
Oh, this was terrible. It was just literally probably the actual reviewers, like your Robert and Ebert or something like that.
Those were the ones bringing it down, and then I bet you even have like some like those like old time forums building up back in the day.
Yeah, and then you realize later on it's I wouldn't say it's a masterpiece, but it's a masterpiece in its own formality. If it created a fan base, that's something.
It's a zombie piece.
Yeah, it's a zombie piece.
It's got like a lot of rentals at the old Blockbuster for VHS.
Yeah. So then he followed up on that with Devil's Rejects.
Yeah.
And how did you feel about that film?
I thought it was a really good send up. You get more. That's when you start to realize, oh, okay, these movies are about this family.
Yeah.
How, they're assholes. They're gross. They're sexist. They're probably fucking each other.
Yeah.
But they just go. All they do is just go around and kill people, but they still have each other. At least they got their backs,
and they have personality.
Yeah. Then they start to kind of like develop that more. They get even better into it in the third one. Mm-hmm. But this one, that's when the audience starts realizing, okay, this is kind of like the thing they're going. This is like what's the kind of like quote unquote narrative. Mm-hmm. Although I gotta say, I don't really remember much of the second one.
I don't either. I don't know why it flims right through me every time I watched it.
I don't know why either. Yeah, but I do remember like some key parts, some like characters will pop back up. Like I don't even remember his name, the black guy.
It definitely didn't have that House of a Thousand Corpse feel. Mm-hmm. You could tell that you're just basically taking House of a Thousand Corpse and you're putting it on the road now. Mm-hmm. And that's how it was going, right? Like they're just now on a road.
Like they're like the studios went to Rob Zombie. Is like, hey, I know we gave you a bunch of shit for this House of a Thousand Corpses movie, but we want you to do a send up to it. We want you to kind of do a sequel.
Yeah.
But we want you to tone it down still. If you want us to pay you to make this movie, you got to tone it down. And you're just like, Rob Zombie's just like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I'll do that for you. Let me make Halloween in 2007.
Then I'll go out in Halloween.
Yeah. The second one was alright. It was a good sequel.
It's gonna be so edgy.
So it was.
I'm gonna have these people hostage in the hotel room, and then just kill them all.
Do you remember when we were watching it after the first one? I wanted to go straight to the third one.
Yeah, I remember that.
Nobody wanted to.
Like we were like, "Fuck you, Trevor. We want to watch the second one."
Yeah, and I get that, but can you see why I skipped the second one? Like it didn't have the energy as the first one. Mm-hmm. Not saying the third one did too, but the third one had its own little energy going on. I love the whole Mexico thing and what'd you say to me, motherfucker? Motherfucker after every 5 seconds. Like, motherfucker.
You motherfucker.
Oh my god.
Yeah. But I'm still glad that we still have Devil's Rejects. Yeah. Because isn't that Rob Zombie's second feature-length movie?
Yeah, that was the second. He went straight to that one right after.
Because you definitely see that there is development in his directing and just vision-wise. He's still toned it down. Do
you think that was more Hollywood? Like
definitely.
Okay.
Because like he still toned it down, which I feel like is kind of unfortunate because we need more directors that have vision.
Right.
We can't just have them keep being Hollywood cookie cutter crap.
Right.
But he still kind of slipped some stuff in. Like I remember we kept pointing out the really like odd transitions where it'll have a freeze frame. The image will slide to another freeze frame of the next scene. Uh-huh. And I'm guessing he's kind of just going off of that. He's doing that to go off of kind of 70s, 80s exploitation film.
Yeah, I like how he threw that shit in there.
Yeah, me too. Because you don't really see that a lot. And although I'm not really too much a fan of like weird transitions like that, I don't think I would personally do that. Mm-hmm. It's still interesting to see, other directors do that.
If you make it work,
yep,
you can do it.
You make it work, and you make it fit in with the whole tone and feel of the film.
I think he chose the right people to work with this film with.
Yeah,
that's what I think. Like, I know it wasn't just all Rob Zombie. Mm-hmm. That's where I think the other people got to get credit too. Mm-hmm. I find that still kind of interesting is all the people that were on the board, because I really wonder if like the people on the second film were also the same people on the first film too. I don't know if they were.
I didn't really look into it, but I'm guessing no, because especially the cinematography was different.
The cinematography, yeah, but remember when that interview that he said, like, if you don't like what I'm working with, then you could, leave or whatever. I don't care.
Yeah.
Whatever was going on with that.
Despite though, he still got his I'm pretty sure it's a signature now at this point. He got, at least for this trilogy, he's got his edited slow motion where they don't even shoot it in a high frame rate. they just shoot it normally, the 24 frames per second, and then just slow that video down so it's really choppy, and it goes on and it keeps happening, and it's just like, well, Rob Zombie, if you really gave a shit so much about slow motion, do you think you could have, shot at high frame rate so it looks nice?
You'll have to show me after this, like the slow motion you're talking about.
Yeah.
Because I can't remember.
It happens a lot in this second one.
I just remember slow motion happening more towards like ending scenes and stuff like that.
Yeah, and the ending.
Does he do it towards more like action stuff? Like that's okay.
Yeah.
My problem too was with that is he does. It's not the action scenes. He does a lot of close-ups that I don't like. He does too many close-ups.
That can be problematic. Yeah, I can see what you mean. I don't think it bothered me as much as you, but still, like if you do something too much, the audience starts noticing it and they start getting put off by it.
Yeah.
Which, like somebody like Rob Zombie, he's not gonna really give a shit about what the audience cares. He's just doing what he wants to do.
Yeah, and I think it really depends how much you're interested in the story. The story will keep you interested so much where all those other factories are not going to matter. Like if it's close up or the music or how it looks, if you're so interested in the story, you just want a reaction. And I don't know if that's what he was going off was with reaction to these close ups.
Yeah, it's definitely like more by you get these movies you get a sense of this is just kind of what Rob Zombie had just pictured, and he's just stuck with it. He's just gonna stick with this. He's not really gonna. It's just this. Yeah. He's not gonna try to like build any nuance on it. He's just like, I just want you to see, this somebody get their like throat slit or shot.
Yeah. Do you think there was a restraint on dialogue on the Devil's Rejects? Because you know how you said he probably toned it down a little bit compared to the first one.
Yeah. I don't really remember a lot of lines.
I know Three from Hell. There was no restraint on dialogue on that one. That was all over the place with like I said, motherfucker after every scene or every line that he had.
And even the first one, I gotta say, like out of all the lines of all these three movies, that my favorite is still gotta be Captain Spaulding when he goes off on the robber. Fuck your mama. Fuck your sister. Fuck your grandma. But most of all, fuck you. That was so corny.
That was right at the beginning, right?
Yep. It's so perfect. So well done. I loved it.
That's where you get a feel of how the movie's gonna go.
Yep.
That just shows you he's not worried about anything.
Yep.
That was great.
And then the only thing that kind of put me off for The Devil's Rejects was the ending with everything slowed down and he throws on Freebird.
Oh.
He almost plays the whole song, and you're just like, well, okay, I guess we're just gonna like kind of sit here and just kind of let this happen.
I forgot how that played out. I might have closed my eyes for a minute, woke back up. It's still happening.
We're just like la 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 la. I can't hear you.
So let's wrap them all up.
What about we gotta talk about the third one though?
Well, we talked about the third one in the beginning.
No,
did you want to add more stuff to it?
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Three from Hell,
and then like
14 years later.
14 years later, and it's just like, well, what are they gonna do? It's been so long, and it can make sense. They're just gonna be in prison. Well, first off, they're gonna survive the shootout that they had at the end, like immaculately. They all survived, which is good because we won't have a movie without that. And then it's just kind of following like any like last remaining people that are still alive. They'll kill them. No.
Wait, how do you feel about that happening? Them being almost basically shot up to death at the end of the second one. And then we come back 14 years later, like, okay, they survived.
It's stupid movie logic, but it's fine.
But it worked. It can work in this film.
Yeah, it's fine for these movies. But
it's like superhero shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it is really interesting because that's when you start. That's kind of like when I kind of started to realize in this third movie at the beginning where they're all in prison that that's when I started realizing I'm rooting for these characters to kind of break out and just go back to like doing what they want to do,
right?
Which is doing a lot of fucked up shit.
Really, they're not going to live normal lives ever. Nope. Even if they try to, like they're just always going to be on the run.
Yep. And
they're not always trying to do bad. What I realized in the third one, they're just trying to get away. And then you could see them celebrating that in Mexico, like, all right.
And if anybody tries to like come in and like kind of like fuck that up, they're just like, well, we'll just fuck you up back.
Yeah. Well, it was that one snitch. He heard about them. Yeah, that was interesting.
And I think it's also good too that they got that prison time, like literally like a decade passed, like with the movies. A decade passed. Yeah, they went with that, which makes sense because characters are old, actors get older, and things like that. This movie came out 2019.
Yeah,
and then we got
they're a little older and calmer.
Yeah, so. we got Sherry Moon Zombie. That's her name, right?
Yeah,
and she really definitely goes all out in this third one. I don't really feel like she had much of a personality. She kind of like did,
but she's very poppy, like, oh, I'm so happy about everything.
And it makes sense for this third one because she was in solitary confinement for over a decade.
Yeah,
and that fucks you up.
Yes,
and so it made her that made her character a lot more fun. And they all have their own characters, kind of like character things that they're going for. And that's definitely a lot more developed in this third movie, which I appreciated because, like, if you're gonna keep going on, you gotta have some characters in the movie. You can't just have people like in place doing things, because that doesn't make a movie.
Yeah,
and it just all like. Honestly, like, I keep hearing people like I said earlier, like everybody just wants to shit on like these Rob Zombie movies, and I haven't seen like any other ones other than these, but I gotta say they're really fun.
Do you feel like you understand him a lot better now?
Yeah,
after watching these,
because there's definitely a sense of style. There's something that he's going for, as well as just a theme of family. And togetherness, like fuck everybody else, we have each other.
But what if you take that out, though?
Yeah, then it's all just stupid. Like,
so then that's why I would wonder if you were to watch Lords of Salem or 31. I want to see how that would go with you, because those two movies don't have that like trilogy feel, franchise feel. You could still tell it's a Rob Zombie feel or film, but it doesn't have that. So it'd be interesting to have you watch those.
Yeah, I gotta be honest. I don't know if I'll actually really like them as much, but maybe, who knows?
Yeah, like I said, you didn't know you would like these ones, but then you realize, you know what? He's just doing his own thing.
All I had to do was just give him a chance.
Yeah,
and I finally did. And I'm very happy.
And these weren't complainable, but now it gives you a reason to watch the other two films that he did. Just to see how they would go without those characters in it,
Yep.
And I think that's going to be interesting to see. I'm going to check Amazon right now, see how much they are.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like he needs another trilogy of Amazon, or a trilogy that's not a franchise, whatever you want to call it. What would you call it? I don't know. He needs a third film, though.
A saga.
It's only 2 films. It's only 31 and
but still, you can make a third movie that connects the other 2 movies together.
He could. He should. I don't know, but that'd be interesting to see. Anything else on it? Do you like how it became, like, would you call it a franchise? Do you feel like it became one, or a theme or something? No.
Yeah, definitely. It's I wouldn't say franchise, because there needs to be more, like, I think at least 5 movies.
Not only that, like,
then it becomes an anthology. But it's a trilogy. It's a good trilogy that, all together it works really well.
The trilogy works very well. Has a fan base.
Mm-hmm.
Not a huge fan base, but it has a really good amount fan base.
Mm-hmm.
Really, it depends on the fans how dedicated they are. Because when you look at other trilogies or something like that, like I think Rob Zombie could have his own thing.
Mm-hmm. Definitely does.
I think it's too early to tell though, since it's only been 1 year since Three from Hell came out.
Yeah,
and then plus Captain's passing, so we don't really know where Rob Zombie's gonna go now.
Yeah.
Since, it's good that he wrapped that shit up.
Mm-hmm.
Even if that was wrapped up, I gotta wonder if you could still keep going.
Mm-hmm.
Like, would you keep going with those two characters or the added character? Do you make another film now that they added one more person to it now, or not one more person, but like replaced him with Boomhead?
Nah. You gotta like, if you. I definitely get the sense that Rob Zombie is an auteur. Mm-hmm. He's like mainly, he's got music going on, and then he'll probably do a movie when he feels like it, which that's kind of like what I get the sense. He'll do a movie if he feels like it. So
yeah,
he's just gonna kind of go with the flow.
Yeah, and I think that's good to go with the flow. Sometimes you're guided in different ways, and if you work with the right people, it can go into your favor. I like that Three from Hell was made 14 years later because it gave people at that time of a generation to watch those movies, understand them, and then like, can you imagine like being a big fan of those in 2003 and 4, and then Three from Hell came out? Like, I'd be ecstatic if I was those fans.
I'm like, oh, I'm finally over 17. I can go see an R-rated movie and check this out.
Yeah. That's like, like some trilogies or some sequels take a long time to make. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't, but this one worked.
Yeah, I agree.
Just because of the genre he made it into be. Even them missing a main character, he still made it work somehow.
And it also works because it's a part of them, being beaten down. Because not just that they lost a lot of family members, but also they were thrown in prison.
Yeah.
But they were still managed to dig themselves out of that. And so it's genuine, like, you're really rooting for these characters.
You're rooting for these terrible people.
Yes.
And that's what's good. Because, like, who knows if they're terrible? No. Who knows if they're terrible people? No, they are terrible people.
They are terrible people, but they have each other.
They just keep getting put in the positions to even be more terrible.
But hey, they may be murderers. They may be, homophobic, hateful assholes. But
they weren't racist, were they?
They're not racist. They had some black friends.
Yeah. And they were in Mexico.
Yeah.
There you go.
They love Mexicans.
How do you want to wrap this up since it was a trilogy? Do you want to rate each film or do you want to...
I'd say do something for overall.
Rate the trilogy itself? All right. I'll go first.
Yeah, you go first.
So overall, being what it is, creating something new, likable characters, you don't get that all the time. The gap is weird. I'd have to research that on Rob Zombie's part. Maybe he mentions it in an interview why he waited 14 years. I know he's busy, but still, I want to give it I'm gonna give it an 8.
An 8. Whoa.
Just because... No, I'm going to go back to a 7.
Okay.
Overall, trilogy, a 7. It could have been better, but then again, could it have been? It is what it is. Like, you have everything you need that was in the film.
You could argue that it could be better, but I feel like if it did get better, it wouldn't be a Rob Zombie movie.
Yeah.
So, but in my case... they're definitely more leaning on the guilty pleasure side. So, but they're they started off going on their own like creative thing, and then over time they kind of just uh, toned it down, mellowed out, became more just. And then like, I'm glad that they just started to follow a narrative, but they didn't. There wasn't much, moving up to being more creative with it. So
yeah,
because of that, I definitely want to give it a strong 6.
mm-hmm.
Like 6 out of 10 for me is more of just kind of like a guilty pleasure kind of rating, because they may have kind of like fallen a little bit flat in some category, in some kind of like in like parts of like the movies, like maybe like the writing, either like the writing's not as good, or the like thematics aren't as really good, or production wise. It's like they're missing 2 out of 3. Like they excelled in one thing, but not so much in the other 2.
Yeah,
but it's still something that sticks with you.
Yeah, it definitely does. The characters are going to stick with you for a while.
Yes, characters and settings and everything, but more importantly, I would really like to watch these movies again.
Yeah, they got some replayable. And shout out to the actors and like, and the characters, like
Sid Haig,
for them to
Sherry Moon Zombie.
Yeah, I know she was annoying at first, but then you start to understand her, and then she's not as annoying. She's got like a stupid, wicked laugh, and I'm just But I think that's what she was going for. But anyways, yeah. Anything else to add to that?
No, I'd say that's pretty good.
And what did you call the Rob Zombie trilogy? You said you think it has a name?
I tried looking it up. It was like I guess you could call it the Firefly Trilogy, or like
Firefly Trilogy.
I saw like on Wikipedia it said something weird like list of Firefly films.
We'll go with that until corrected.
The list of Firefly films. That's gonna be the podcast title.
Yeah,
it sounds terrible.
But even on the side of the Blu-ray, it says Rob Zombie Trilogy. I don't like how it says that though.
Yeah, because it's not really, because like, of like, but what's up Rob Zombie movies? He's made more than 3 at this point.
I guess it's because of the same characters, like
that. But like, you don't know that. But so it says just like, wait a minute. So is I mean, it'll say like what movies are in the trilogy on the cover, but like, wait, what do you mean, Rob? But if you just hear the Rob Zombie trilogy, what does that even mean?
It's that side artwork.
Does that include Lords of Salem?
That's what bugs me. That side artwork.
Does that include We're All Fucking in UFOs?
31. Yeah, it's missing those 2 films. They could have threw them in there, but
special features. Yeah.
I guess why they didn't. They just want to keep a
Blu-ray can only hold so much. You see, 50 gigs.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. I think they just want to go with. They wanted to keep the same characters. They're like, Lords of Salem has nothing to do with this. 31 could have been in there, even because it was Boomhead. Like that's your introduction to Boomhead before he was in Third from Hell. So he could have been in there, but I could see why they didn't throw him in there. Different story.
Yeah.
But yeah, that'll do it on the Rob Zombie trilogy. You can buy it right now for $10 on Amazon.
That's a good $10.
I think it's on
right there
at Best Buy, Walmart. I'm pretty sure this trilogy pack just only came out last month because I never saw it before. So buy it all at one time.
So yeah, check out everything we've mentioned: Borat, subsequential movie film, Fire Walk with Me,
Fallen Order, the Star Wars game that's free right now.
It's on Game Pass. You already have Xbox Live. Just go get the Ultimate Game Pass.
Just download
it's just $5 more.
Check out the Twin Peaks song by Trey Spells on YouTube. And last but not least, check out
the list of Firefly films.
I feel weird calling it that. The Rob Zombie films.
And then also check out, I'll cut this out, but also check out Anti-Donna, because I watched it all on Netflix, but I forgot to mention it in this podcast.
No, you can still mention it.
Nah, it's fine.
I want to watch it. I'll check it out.
Alrighty.
I'll get that done within an hour.
Yep. So this has been Rob Zombie Monolith to Mythos podcast, episode 11.
With Trey Spells.
Trey Spells and me. Thank you guys for listening, and we'll check you out and check us out next time. Goodbye.
Bye.